but one thing that was obvious to me, and Ruben Amorim mentioned it in his quotes after the game, United desperately need some legs in midfield. They are so short of pace and movement. They will really struggle. They couldn't get the ball off Leeds. Casemiro, as we know, couldn't run. Mainoo came on second half, couldn't run. So United, with the money they're saving on Rashford's wages, need to find a midfielder quickly, because without a midfielder, they're going to have the same problems as last season. They're going to be overrun. So that has to be the next priority. And they are looking at people like Edison at Atalanta. If I was United, I'd be looking at Morgan Gibbs-White. You know, we know he's available for £60 million, but whether they'll do that or not, but they need somebody in midfield who can basically cover the ground.
Yeah, you mentioned it. This is what Ruben Amorim had to say after the game about needing reinforcements within the midfield, talking about the lack of pace. We have a lack of pace, especially in the middle of the park, and you can feel it's hard to win the ball, but we created chance.
Well, but I don't get what Oggy said, Morgan Gibbs-White there. Morgan Gibbs-White is a player who plays between the striker and the midfielder, and they've got Bruno Fernandes, they've got Cunha, they've got players that do that. They're not central midfielders. A bit worrying that Oggy says that they got outplayed and couldn't get the ball off Leeds United. And on yesterday's show, Julian Laurens was saying they don't fancy Agate because he can't pass the ball. They signed him from PSG, they paid millions for him, and we're talking about a guy who can't pass the ball. So you've got a player who really can't pass the ball, and you're trying to play out from the back. He's not in the team. You've got a player in Casemiro, let's be honest, he's finished at this level. And then next to him, you've got Bruno Fernandes, who really needs to be further up the field. But you can't push him up the field because you haven't got anybody else here, and then you've signed Cunha. I mean, it beggars belief. And then, again, yesterday, they were talking about, well, they need a front man, and they haven't ruled out Nico Jackson. I mean, you'd just, if you were a United, you would just burn the season tickets. If they sign Nico Jackson, you just go, right, just forget it.
Does a modern player not bother with what the manager says anymore? If I'm a central midfield player for Man United and I'm listening to the manager,
Sure.
I'm going to be thinking, hold on a second. I think you'd have to go and say, hold on a second. If you're talking about me, can you tell me to my face?
Right.
Because you can't say that. Well, we all know it's true, and they probably know it's true, but you don't come out and say that in the press. I mean, that's just crazy. It makes no sense whatsoever. And apparently, your modern player isn't like us in our day where you would just get slaughtered and you had to deal with it. You know, apparently the modern day player is a bit soft and a bit lightweight and needs a cuddle.
Right.
So what's that going to do to anybody?
I
mean, Kobe Mainoo would be a great example. Kobe Mainoo must be thinking, well, I may as well try and find another club. I mean, I don't get it. I don't get what the coach is thinking.
It seems that Amorim is quite happy. I mean, he was, you know, the Rashford cases last year is slightly different because it ran a lot deeper, and his comments were very strong on, you know, Rashford. You know, not the cleverest of comments, I don't think, to be honest, about I'd rather play the bus driver and all that sort of stuff. But I think what he's doing here and has done, he's covering his own backside. He's watching his team being outplayed, as Mark said, even in a pre-season friendly. And when he's asked these questions at press conferences, he's saying, "Well, it's not me.
Right.
It's not me.
Squad.
I don't have somebody to run about in the middle of the park. So it's not me, and it's nothing I'm doing. What I'm doing the best I can." Basically, that's what he's saying. He's sort of covering himself, and he just seems hell bent. And I think we're going to talk about it all year again. Just hell bent and playing the same way every week.
What's going to happen at the start of the season if they don't start well? Because, as you said, he's covering his own back, but he's covering his own back off the back of not looking after the players.
Right.
So before you've even kicked a ball in anger,
It's a vicious circle, isn't it?
You've got the players thinking, hold on, this guy's looking after himself. He's not even bothered to look after us. Oh, I tell you, he's got no chance. They start badly. He's got no chance.
They got a midfield and back line that just wouldn't get you past mid-table.
No, you look at that 11 again, weren't you? One word on Mbuemo. What's going on? Why is this taking so long, Mark?
No, medical this weekend. It should be done next 24, 48 hours. Might make the flight to America on Tuesday with the squad, but he needs a visa before he can do that.
Okay, lovely, jubbly. God, that was a lot of match.
He can get an Esty, can he? I can show him how to get an Esty.
I mean, Esther.
An Esther?
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, I think.
Well, I think he needs a little bit more than that. I think he needs a visa.
It got me here.
Right, let's be brutally honest here, shall we? That draw against Leeds has left me proper wound up, and if you watch that match, you'll know exactly why. It wasn't just the result. It was the complete lack of pace and energy in our midfield that had me pulling my hair out. Amorim himself came out after the game saying we desperately need legs in the middle of the park. And honestly, it's about bloody time someone said it out loud. Watching Casemiro lumber about like he's got concrete boots on was painful enough, but then seeing Mainoo come on in the second half and struggle just as much, that's when you know we've got serious problems. The lad's got talent, don't get me wrong, but he's being asked to do a job that requires pace and movement we simply don't have. Leeds were running rings around us in midfield, and that should be setting off every alarm bell at Old Trafford. Look, if you're as frustrated as I am watching this unfold, smash that subscribe button because we're going to need each other to get through what could be another long season. We're in this together, and honestly, your support keeps me sane when I'm watching performances like this. Now here's where it gets really concerning. Amorim's talking about needing reinforcements, mentioning players like Edison from Atalanta, and there's whispers about Morgan Gibbs-White for $60 million, but here's the thing. Gibbs-White isn't even a central midfielder. He's more of a number 10, and we've already got Bruno and Mainoo for those positions. It's like we're shopping for a new car when what we really need is a bloody engine. The manager's been quite blunt about our limitations, saying, we have a lack of pace, especially in the middle of the park, and you can feel it's hard to win the ball. Fair play to him for being honest, but it's also a bit worrying that he's essentially throwing the players under the bus before the season's even properly started. Casemiro knows he's past his best, Mainoo's still developing, and Bruno's being forced to play deeper because we haven't got anyone else who can actually control a football match. What's really doing my head in is that we're supposedly saving money on Rashford's wages, and good riddance if he's not committed, but then we're potentially looking at Nico Jackson as a striker option. I mean, come on. If that happens, I might as well burn my season ticket and take up golf instead. It's like we're shopping in the bargain bin when we need to be investing in quality. The truth is, without proper midfield reinforcements, we're going to have the exact same problems as last season. We'll get overrun by teams with pace and energy, we won't be able to control games, and we'll end up scrapping for points against sides we should be beating comfortably. It's a cycle we've been stuck in for years now, and watching that Leeds friendly just confirmed all my worst fears. Amorim seems determined to play his way, regardless of whether the players can actually execute it. And that's either brave or completely mental. I haven't decided which yet. But one thing's for certain, if we start the season badly and the manager's already covering his own back by publicly criticizing the squad, we're in for another toxic campaign where everyone's pointing fingers instead of pulling together. The Euro signing should be wrapped up in the next 24-48 hours, which is something positive at least. But one defender isn't going to fix our midfield crisis. We need players who can actually run, who can press, who can move the ball quickly and with purpose. Right now we're asking Bruno to do everything while Casemiro tries his best impression of a traffic cone. Do you lot agree with this? Or are we being too hopeful thinking a couple of signings can fix what looks like a fundamental problem with our entire approach to the game?